From the Library of Congress in Washington, D.C.
I'll tell you, just to give you a sense of this interview that I did. Now, look it up. You can find it easily by its headline, How Alan Lomax Segregated Music. So that's just already, anybody who knows anything about Alan Lomax's work will know that that's crazy. So the first question I got in this interview, a fellow sat me down and said, what if I were to tell you that everything that you knew about Alan Lomax was false and that he had made up the whole thing? And I was just like, what kind of a question is that? Like, this is the first question he asked me. And basically, he was going off of a story of when John and Alan would go into the penitentiaries. The hypothesis around them going into the penitentiaries was John Lomax said, trying to find older black folk songs, the older prisoners that would be in the segregated prisoners would be in these segregated prisons might have older songs in their repertoires that would be separate from white culture because they were in a segregated society. And so looking for older songs, they went to the penitentiaries, and they were met with a lot of resistance. And they had various situations. And so the guy was going off of the idea that when they came into the penitentiaries, they would hold people at gunpoint and then make them sing songs, and they just made stuff up on the spot. So this is how the guy was trying to pull me into saying that Alan Lomax was forcing this issue on the people he recorded. Now, just look up the article here, and one of the things, and everything bugged me about it. First off, they said he wasn't a musician too. They said he wasn't a musician. He was only a folklorist and a documentarian, and it was just a very offensive article. And I was glad that I was at least able to be interviewed to just say, the documentation's there. He was a complex individual like all of us, and you can't downplay the guy. Having never met the guy, having also talked to various people, I've heard he was could be a difficult guy, a very sweet guy, a very complex individual. So there were a lot of different experiences that people have had with Alan Lomax being presented or being academics or whatever it might be. But all of us in folk music know that there's a lot of personalities, and and Alan Lomax is one of the great personalities, And they also you just check this article out. And this is why I came up with a concept called the Year of the Folk Singer last year, just trying to advocate that we need to tell the stories again, all of the basic stories of folklore and folk music again for a new generation of people, for the generation of people that know the stories already. Everybody needs to start telling the stories in our community because they're trying to take it out. On top of documenting things, Alan had cultural equity, which was an idea that the mainstream media is trying to homogenize everyone, and that giving everyone their 15 minutes on the big screen was more powerful to our country and to our world than anything else. And so as in the post-digital revolution, that's something that's more urgent than ever. And but anyway, one of the things they tried to reference was a session with Big Bill Brunsey, Sonny Boy Williamson, and Memphis Slim. It was released as Blues in the Mississippi Night, and they took out all the context. They didn't even mention the fact that those guys, no one knew that those guys were the musicians in that session because they were afraid for their family and their lives for telling the horrors that they found down south when they moved up north. But anyway, let me just do a little bit of one of Big Bill's tunes. This one's called Hey, Hey, Baby. Not too many words, but just enough. Hey, 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 baby, hey. Hey, 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 baby, hey. I love you, baby, but I ain't gonna be your dog. Thank you. I picked a little bit of that song just to talk about advocacy, because Big Bill Brunsey was a great friend to Alan Lomax. And Alan documented his work as well as a lot of different record companies. So Big Bill jumped between commercial recordings and folkloric recordings, talking about both sides of the coin with that. And through Big Bill's work, institutions like the Old Town School of Folk Music in Chicago was built around giving lessons on Big Bill's guitar style. And Peggy Seeger, hey, how you doing, Peggy? And also there was, Big Bill also went over to Europe, and he was one of the first country bluesmen after Leadbelly to go over and give advocacy for American folk blues, as they call it in Britain. And that became its own phenomenon. Skiffle music was built around that, and all the people we know, like Eric Clapton and Mick Jagger and all those rock and roll pioneers, they learned from those recordings of Big Bill. Now, I just want to do one last little bit, and just to do my own little spin on it. Now, one of the things that when Alan Lomax was recording a lot of this stuff in the penitentiaries, he got particularly subversive lyrics at times. And so I need your help for audience participation on this. This is a version of Pick a Bale of Cotton that I heard that really moved me. And so we'll do it just the normal way real quick. Now, does everybody know the song Pick a Bale of Cotton? Jump down, turn around, pick a bale of cotton. Now to jump down, turn around. Well, to jump down, turn around. Well, to jump down, turn around. So now we're going to do a slightly different beat to it. So on this side, if you guys could clap, 2. And on this side here, we'll go on the offbeat. Now start swaying a little bit. Now a little slower. And so this was done by Unknown Axe Cutting Group. That was the name on the record of Pick a Bale of Cotton. Well, never will I, oh, never will I. Oh, you jump down, you turn around. Oh, you jump down, you turn around. Oh, never will I. Oh, never will I. Oh, poor Eli. Oh, poor Eli. Now, Granddaddy had to. No, my daddy never had to. So how can I? Oh, how can I pick a bale a day? Now you jump down, you turn around. Oh, you jump down, you turn around. Oh, how can I? Oh, how can I pick a bale a day? Thank you so much. Here's to the Lomax Challenge. Happy 100th anniversary, Alan.
This has been a presentation of the Library of Congress. Visit us at loc.gov.